I hope nothing happens tonight like that previous incident when an unfortunate human guest stumbled into one of their little bashes and ended up as the pinata.
This one is a really good Haunt World movie. I promise you, you're gonna like this one. There's a lot of haunts on it. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel because we are bringing you more classic haunt videos. Plus, we're traveling the country and visiting some of the best haunted houses, talking to the owners. It's for you to look at where it was 20, 25 years ago and where it is today. Remember, these videos were filmed back in the early 2000s, late 1990s. This is how people haunted. This is what people thought. This is what people did. Leave your comments below because I would like to know what you think that you saw on this video that you're still doing today. This video is jam-packed with haunts. We have Fright World, Terror on the Fox, which is still operating today, Trail of Terror, Pirates of the Emerson, Netherworld, The Darkness, Lance Pope's Granny Lupus Show. And if you've never heard of Granny Lupus Show, this was a show that Lance Pope created with a whole bunch of sophisticated animations. It was like a show that you watched, that you paid extra, and all kinds of stuff happened. And you're gonna see the whole thing right here on this video. There's also Dr. Lady and Terror Visions in 3D. So away we go, on with the show. The show must go on, and all of its grainy, non-widescreen, non-4D, you know, whatever, you know what I mean. Here we go for Hauntworld the Movie, part 13. This is the most unlucky one we ever did.
Hi gang, I heard this is supposed to be a special Haunt World video, so to get things off, we're going to turn it over to Dr. Lady with a special introduction.
Hi everybody, sorry I'm late. Listen, now that I'm finally here, I'd like to make that special introductory speech that I stayed up all night writing. So, how much time have I got left?
Hello and welcome back to Hauntworld the Movie, Part 13. Yes, I can count that high. And Dr. Lady, you didn't have any more time because, quite frankly, we all got really bored of waiting around for you. So, sorry we had to cut you off, but as they say in show business, the show must go on. We want to welcome you back to Hauntworld Movie Series, and as you can see, I'm back at my trusted computer desk. So that means that the tapes are going to be really boring. Yeah, I said really boring. I know you're all out there thinking, no, not Larry, not boring. Yes, boring. So, but part 13, I can honestly say, will not be boring because I'm not going to hardly say a word. We have so much footage to share with you that there's no possible way that I can get a word in. Otherwise, as you know, if I did get a word in, then there would be no haunted houses. So, a couple things I wanted to talk about before we get going or whatever. As usual, I have my notebook pad that some people have teased me about, but I got my notes right here. I just actually wrote the whole script for 13 and 14 5 minutes ago. I just sat down on the couch and wrote it, and here we are. Couple things. As you know, we have Hauntworld, the magazines, and we're up to part 5 now. Actually, part 3 and 4 is coming out of the Halloween show, and part 5 will come out in June. And you need to make sure you subscribe. You can subscribe by going to hauntworld.com, and across the top of the website, kind of all the way on the far right-hand side, you'll see a link that says Haunted House Magazine. That's the same thing as Hauntworld the Magazine. In case anybody gets confused out there, it's the same thing. So go on over there to hauntworld.com, click on Haunted House Magazine, and get yourself a subscription. And while you're at it, get a subscription for anybody and everybody you know, because we need the support. So anyway, the Hauntworld Magazine's been really cool. There's been a delay in getting out part 3 and 4, only because we want to make a magazine strictly for haunted houses and amusement park owners and things of that nature. And the first one and the second one were awesome, especially Rich Skrillex articles about the haunted house trailers. Everybody loved them. And matter of fact, we're about to run out of part 1 and 2 because so many people want those trailer haunt articles. And but the magazine just didn't look quite the way we're used to doing things, which is top notch, except for these videos, which are about the worst they can be made, with a little home camcorder and me sitting behind a desk in front of a computer. That's really cheesy, but that's the way it is. But with the magazine, we wanted to make the magazine as good as possible, and we took a look at part 2 and 1, and we just kind of was trying to figure out exactly where we wanted to go with it. It took us a while because of Halloween season, so on and so forth. And then at that point, we said, well, we might as well wait till before IAPA, or until after IAPA. And so we did that. And then we said, well, we might as well wait till right before the Transworld show. And so one thing led to another, and we finally got part 3 and 4 out, which features Headless Horseman and 23, count them, 23 articles. That's right, 23 articles, because it's a double issue. And there's a lot of cool stuff in the magazine. Lots of color. We did 24 pages of color, and in the first 2 magazines we did 0 color except for the cover. So it's like 66 pages, I think, and 24 pages of color. I mean, it's phenomenal. I mean, we're really happy with it. We bought a lot of programs, and we had Brainstorm Studios make a lot of cool just clip art for the magazine, just to kind of like make it look a little more professional. So that was really the only reason that it took so long to get it out, was because of the fact that we are perfectionists and we wanted to make sure that we could produce the premier magazine. I think we've done that. You'll see that with issue 3 and 4. So again, if you want to get Hauntworld the magazine, go to hauntworld.com and click on the Haunted House magazine link, or you can click on the online store where you probably bought this video. There's a link up there that says Hauntworld magazine. Matter of fact, if you go to the Fright World message board on hauntworld.com, there's a little magazine up in the top left-hand corner. That means click on it and subscribe. Are you sick of me talking about the magazine yet? That's what I thought. So anyway, before we get into our first haunted house, I wanted to say that a good friend of mine named Lance Pope passed away. Lance probably had the best haunted house in the country. There's no doubt about it. You can take it from me, because I truly am an expert at this. I've seen probably 200-300 haunted houses, and we've probably built 100. And I can say without a doubt that Verdun Manor is probably the best haunted house in the country. He's bought props from Scare Factory, from us, from Stage Fright Studios and Distortion. And when you went there, you wouldn't even know he bought them from those companies, because he was such an original person. He would take those props and redo them. And for God's sakes, I know he bought that Nefarious from Stage Fright, and then he put wings on it, and he had all kinds of stuff hanging off his jaws, and he put a flamethrower in its mouth, for God's sakes. I mean, come on, he had a flame-throwing dragon out there. The guy was incredible, and he was a friend to everybody, and he was just the nicest guy. In the middle of the winter, he'd get out of his house and give you a tour if you knocked on his door. And it's really a sad thing. He was only like 38 years old. And Lance Pope was always leading the way, showing us what direction to aspire towards. And fortunately for us, the very last thing he ever built was a show out there. As you know, his goal was to make a haunted theme park. And out there on his property, he's got a $75,000 foundation built on top of a hill where he was going to build a dark ride. This guy was trying to develop his property into a horror theme park, and it was a long-term goal. And one of the elements was this thing called Granny Lupus Seance Show. And it was a show where you go in, you pay an extra fee, and you sit down in the audience, and you watch a show happen. And the footage is grainy, it's not so good, it's just a guy with a camcorder wiggling around. But fortunately, we were able to get our hands on this footage. Lance has sent in footage to Hauntworld Videos from the beginning, because he wanted to share and give back. And he shared this video with Ben Armstrong in Netherworld, and Ben Armstrong forwarded it on to me, so I wanted to say thanks to Ben. And this is the last footage of the last thing Lance Pope did in the haunted house industry. So take a look.
drunken stupor with her talking. Perhaps I should awaken her at this point. Wake up, you old hag!
What the? Oh, sorry about that. Guess I dozed off a bit. Well, looky here. Y'all all gussied up for dinner. Well, I'm old Granny Lupus, grandmother to the greatest Luru of all time. That's werewolf, you city folk. The bell knuckles are done. Anyhow, please stay in your seats and away from the rails. These calls to the netherworld can sometimes get a little messy, but I promised we ain't gonna bring up anything evil.
I've heard that one before.
Oh, well, hellfire. Whatever it takes to make a buck, I'll do it. I'm a werewolf myself. Near 800 years old.
Talk about your wrinkled up mangy bitch.
Yeah, old breath. My grandson, Fadun, had a great empire going here. At least until the villagers caught up with him, stabbed him and buried him right over there. Then some southern bastard by the name of Vincent Carruthers took over his plantation. Well, my grandson weren't dead, and during Carruthers' housewarming party, whilst his guests were drinking and dancing, Fadun climbed up out of that grave with his claws, burst through a window, and set things right. But after all these years, I still got a bone to pick with Vincent Carruthers. So tonight, we're gonna bring his spirit back in the flesh. Oh, wee-doo-wee timbala, give me a body from the netherworld. I beg of thee. Yeah, whatever.
Are you sure this is wise? Baron Verdun warned us that
Go away, you flea bag. I'm trying to work
Baron
here.
Verdun has banned you from otherworldly interventions. Fear his wrath.
Let go, butt sniffer. I know what I'm doing. Yes, canis corpore, mortis transmuto. Well, that ain't exactly what I was asking for. Where's the rest of him? Come on, let's help you.
I'll add it.
You hush. Don't gossip with the guests. Okay, from the top. Oh, wee dumbala. Give me a body from death, I beg of thee. Anybody? Anybody? That even smells bad to me.
An old woman still smells worse. You never bathe. And why do you keep those hard rodents? I'm allergic to their urine.
No, go with your stuff, you mongrel. Oh, sorry, you've already been stuffed, ain't you? These rats clean human bones from my wind chimes. Besides, what could possibly happen? Sorry, folks. I guess I'm up in the head. There, you see? Them little furballs was just a mite curious, that's all. Now back to business. Maybe Carruthers is just too scared old Greg to answer. If Carruthers ain't gonna come, we'll just try for a free-for-all and see what happens.
Knock it off.
Double toil and trouble. Bring me some spirits here on the
Now you're really inviting trouble.
Don't interrupt your feathers, Tigbay. I ain't taking advice from a werewolf. You can't even lick yourself anymore. Ghosts and goblins, toads in a pond. Send us a message from somewhere beyond. I wondered what happened to my maid. Talk about your skeletons and you.
You released a poltergeist.
Sit down, Snout. Keep the whiskers on, tall boy. Thru, Lorana. No. I got it. Thru, Lorana. Neptune.
Let this be a lesson to you folks. Don't drink in concert.
Listen here, sawdust brains. I want to do better.
It's gonna be a rocky ride.
I can still hear you in the house with the snap. No use thinking I'm good company. Why in my day, if you know my life, I'm trying to bring Well, maybe I am just a pinch rusty. Sorry about the commotion, folks. I'll get it right next time.
Please exit via the bookshelf on your right, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to grab any children or belongings that have survived Frank Lupus's disastrous NFS with the Netherworld.
About me, you mangy mutt.
An explosion, you old fool. I should say what little dignity we still have. Happy Halloween, mortals.
Halloween, mortals. Sit down. I drained all the mojo I could from y'all, and I need a fresh bunch to try again.
As I said, I wasn't going to get into a lot of different things. We're just going to talk about stuff on part 14. So on this tape, we're going to just show you footage. Really, that's what we were going to do with part 13. And some of you may be wondering, what happened? Why is there a 13 and a 14? Well, there's a 14 because so many people sent me in so much freaking footage that we couldn't get it all on one tape. And we actually at one time thought we could get it all on one tape. And to prove that, when you see Hauntworld the magazine, part 3 and 4, you'll see an ad in there. And it only says, now featuring part 13. I mean, if we thought we were going to do a 14, we would put it in there. So we definitely only intended for there to be a 13. So in one way, you can look at this as your good fortunes, because we have a lot of cool footage and a lot of cool information passed along. So the next thing we want to talk about is pre-shows. You know, at the Darkness, we do a pre-show, and we've done a pre-show for like the past 3 or 4 years. And the past 2 years, we've had like this Frankenstein scene pre-show, and we're going to show you some footage of that. But as you know, last year when we went to the Halloween show, we had these DVD animated CGI pre-shows that, although in this video you see clear as day, but if you put them behind a two-way mirror, they kind of look like a ghost. And they look really cool. At the Halloween show, that's how we displayed it. But what we're going to take a look at is we're going to take a look at a pre-show, the pre-shows that we made that we had at the show. We're going to look at the haunted house commercials that we made, which you can buy. That's right, you can buy it. And you're probably having flashbacks right now to How to Create Your Haunted House Part 2, where I was wearing the 3D glasses and making myself look like an idiot, where I was like, yes, 3D. You know, it's like, for all those out there that have those tapes, you're probably thinking, oh, this is turned into an infomercial. But actually not, because a lot of people want to see them. And so we're going to show them to you, just little clips of the infomercials, the commercials, and then we're going to take a look at a really cool pre-show that was made by the same guy that did the CGI stuff. And if you're interested in any of this stuff, just give me a holler at hauntworld@accessus.net. That's my email address. Or just go to HalloweenProductions.com and click on Contact Us and email me. So let's take a look at those and we'll be right back.
Well, hello and good evening. I'm Bare Bones, a resident here in this delightfully demonic place, and I've come to warn you, turn back. If you choose not to heed my warning, then at least follow these rules.
Now then, put your feelings of uneasiness aside, for your concentration is needed in trying to find your way in this world of inescapable doom where your souls will be given to the dark forces that reign.
We have quite a collection of monstrosities, demons, and things that go bump in the night. However, there are a few things that you'll need to know before you take this journey. The psychopaths that inhabit this dwelling do not permit eating, drinking, or smoking.
When there's a chill in the air and the zombies are on the prowl, it's that time of year again.
The Haunted Mansion. Open now through Halloween. Call the Backbone for more information at 845-297-BATT. Join us if you dare. This Halloween, get ready for the fright of your life and the all-new Castle Blackstone.
Yeah, I'm kind of embarrassed. This is the cover. Jim just had to humiliate me with this. This is the cover to How to Create Your Own Haunted House Part 2. We did 3 miserable issues. And they're out of print. So if you have them, they're collector editions. And I autograph them for $10. That makes me the only other person in the industry that sells autographs. So, anyway, now, on to the next thing. Pre-shows. Now we're going to take a look at the pre-show at the Darkness. We did this really cool Frankenstein set. It's really cool. It was a mother to get it all to work and program it together. It's really cool. And it's like a Frankenstein kind of thing. And it's here at the Darkness. And then after that, we're going to take a look at the Ben Armstrong as some kind of a crazy asylum doctor. And it's like kind of like a Netherworld pre-show. Now in the next Hauntworld, Hauntworld 14, we're actually going to pick up from the asylum stuff, and we're going to actually see some footage at the Netherworld. So let's take a look at these 2 quick pre-shows.
Please come in, and welcome to you all. As you may have heard, many of the villagers think I am quite the madman because of my experiments with bringing life from death. I too must admit that up until now, my experiments have not been a total success.
Somebody say that again. Just look at me. And us.
Yeah, this was the result of your last mishap.
Yes, but such unfortunate mistakes breed success. This time, I will not fail.
You said that before.
Behold, I bring you life from death.
Inner Sanctum Incorporated was created in 1984 to help treat forms of mental illness previously believed to be untreatable. Located in the grounds of the old Elysium Field Sanitarium, which was built in 1887, it made use of the vast grounds of the now deserted building. This gave a perfect environment for the use of their cutting-edge and often controversial techniques. Nerve flaying and electro-invasive biotics were used to enhance the more standard medical methods on the more hopeless patients. These techniques proved to be ineffective, and the side effects were devastating. This was Professor Randolph Vargas, a visionary called by some something much darker by others. Vargas was often seen entering the infamous Harkness house, which was located next to the facility. Some believe that this was the reason that a man of his character took the job in the inner sanctum. One day, when returning from the Harkness estate, he was spotted with several surgical instruments and a large incision on his forehead. Many believed that it was self-inflicted, almost like he was trying to lobotomize himself. It was that day that he conceived the plans for the Pretorius Insinuator Mark VII, a mysterious device for exorcising patients of their phobias. At first, it was believed that it was enhancing the fears of the patients, but soon it became clear that it was manifesting their worst nightmares. They were no longer images in their minds, but they were believed to be physically manifested. Some took the forms of monsters from the nightmares. Some were manifestations of their childhood boogeymen. Some patients were found frightened to death. Others slipped deeper into insanity. The staff began to get affected as well. Some became insane.
Welcome. I am Professor Randolph Vargas, Director of Inner Sanctum Incorporated, and the creator of the Pretorius Insinuator Mark VII. My device extracts a patient's greatest fear and gives it flesh. We can then destroy these shadow creatures, curing the insanity, or we can preserve them for later study. Now, I welcome you to Inner Sanctum. You may begin your tour. But I warn you, my staff has informed me that several of the inmates have escaped. So be very careful. Please, enjoy my work. I know I do.
Okay, now we're going to go on a gigantic haunted house tour. So pack your bags, get your shaving cream, and get your secret camera. You know, the one that you take in haunted houses that has the night zoom lens on it that you got in the purse, and you know, just the lens out so you can walk through and save other people's haunted houses. Because we're going to go on a tour of 4 different haunted houses. First, we're going to see Trail of Terror out in Connecticut. Then we're going to take a look at Terror on the Fox out in Wisconsin. Then we're going to go to Buffalo and to a haunted house called Fright World. Then last but not least, we're going to, Carl Fields edited a little Pirates of the Emerson. We've already seen it before. This is kind of a new look at it. So we're going to go back to back to back to back and see 4 haunted houses all in a row. Are you ready? Get set, because here we go.
wish you would go a little bit closer. I'm so friggin' hungry. You look so good. Oh, you look so good.
Oh, it's an laboratory.
Oh my God!
Let's go!
So dizzy.
Come clowning around with us. We clown around all night.
They're going the wrong way! They're going the wrong way!
That was scary.
Come on!
big haunted houses in a row. They were all pretty cool, weren't they? Now we're going to talk a little bit about 3D. As you know, Halloween Productions is a huge supplier of 3D attractions. We built 3D houses for SeaWorld and Anheuser-Busch, Paramount Park, Six Flags, Kennywood Amusement Park. And right now we're doing a really cool dark ride. It's called Spider-Man Ultimate Ride. It's like an interactive dark ride where you shoot targets and you score points in the cars. And it's kind of like in 3D, 4D. So we built all the sets out from the 3D. So we painted the 3D flats and then we built everything off of it. It's unbelievable. Hopefully we can do another video down the road and show you what that looked like. And we're also doing an Incredible Hawk walkthrough, and it's also somewhat in 3D, and it's incredible. So I wanted to try to give you some 3D tips when you're doing your 3D house. The reason you want to consider doing a 3D house, either on your own or you can hire us. Let me do that again. I always wanted to do that. You can do your own 3D house. 3D houses are they're not very easy to do, but then on the other hand, they are easy to do. To do sophisticated artwork you just can't hire any goofball off the street to do. You can do a 3D house with a lot of patterns and kind of effects and balls and stuff like that. Not that difficult. But one of the things I want to tell you, if you're going to do your own 3D house, a couple of things you might want to consider is, number one, when you're considering the theme, try to consider a theme that will go along with 3D. Like clowns, for example. The costume for clowns, they might as well be in 3D. The makeup for clowns is in 3D. So clowns is a kind of a natural. And I guess if you were going to do like a kind of like a story, children's stories gone wrong, like The Three Little Pigs or Alice in Wonderland, and just like cartoon characters going awry, that obviously would fit really well into 3D. Twilight Zone-y themes obviously would do really nice, or alien themes. There's certain kinds of themes that would seem like, when you think about it, if they're in blacklight, they're going to make a lot more sense. Now, obviously we love the clowns, and I think they make the most sense. The next thing you want to keep in mind when you build your own 3D house is you want to build it up over time. When people see a good 3D house for the first time, they're just like, wow, by the effect. So you can sell it by the effect alone. You don't need to try to juice it up with a bunch of props and a bunch of other stuff the first year. You need to concentrate on good artwork. That means don't paint it yourself by dipping your hands in paint and smearing it on the walls. That's just stupid. You need to get yourself a real, professional, creative person to put your 3D house together. 3D is about the images on the wall, so you need to have someone who's extremely creative and can create visually exciting images. That's your first and foremost priority the first year, because the effect will sell itself. Number two, the second year, you might want to get into more props, things you can put on the walls. You might want to try to build some of the 3D scenes out a little bit. If you're doing a clown haunted house, for example, little spider cells like 4D latex clowns. Ex Mortis has a really cool stalk-about clown costume. I'm just making examples. You just want to build more props and add more elements like that to it the second year. So then you've gone another level. You've taken another step. And then other things that might look really cool is like, for example, a spinning tunnel, a blacklight tunnel. That would really punch up your 3D house after you've had it a year or two. That would add a big kind of finale to your 3D house. And as I was saying with the build out, you might have like a crazy bedroom, and then you could actually build a giant crib and put a giant baby in it, and you can walk underneath the crib. And those are the kind of things I mean by build out. And then obviously punching it up could be animations in 3D, or obviously a black hole tunnel. Other things that make a 3D house really cool are silly stuff like horns door jams to divide the rooms up, so it's not just one consistent maze. You can put door jams to break the rooms up, and then actually paint the door jams, and then you might like trim it out, and it looks really cool. Silly string hanging from the ceiling, things that they can move out of their way, stuff you could dip in paint and put in their walking path that they have to actually move out of the way and stuff. Just things like that. They go really, really good hand in hand with the 3D type house. Another cool thing you really need the first year is a facade. Your facade really needs to stand out, because that will help you sell this upcharge when they see the facade. If you have a really cool facade, that'll help you get that extra $3 or $5 or whatever you're trying to get out of your 3D house. One of the main things to suggest, do not try to add your 3D house to the back of your haunted house, for the same price. You need to upcharge it. That's how haunted houses in this day of age is going to get by. You've got to have a small upcharge attraction. Don't make your attraction bigger. Add a little 2,000 square foot 3D house or some other kind of attraction that you can charge people an extra $3 to $5 for. We charged $4 for our 3D house, and about 65% of the people went ahead and paid the price and went through the 3D house. And again, I'm following the same rules. We have the cool artwork, we've got the cool door jams and silly things hanging down their face. We're going to take our 3D house to another level by painting the floors really detailed. The floors is another thing that can really add to your 3D house. If you paint cool images on the floor, there's so many cool things you can do with the floor, because the blue goes deep, and then if you put a green or a red on top of the blue, it looks like one color's on top of your foot, the blue's under your foot, it looks like you're floating. So the floor could be a cool element that you can add to your 3D house. Another cool thing about 3D house is character actors. I think in a 3D house they're a little more wackier. So for example, if you have a clown 3D house, you need your best actors, the ones who can actually act, not just jump out and go boo in your 3D house. Because I found that the actors that can roll along with the customers, that can entertain them as well as scare them, and it's going to add a big impact to your 3D house, because usually your 3D houses are small and short, so you want to hit them with everything. And clowns, for example, are wacky. They talk to people. They can be, sadistic and stuff like that. So make sure you get good character actors in your 3D house. Now, last but not least, your artwork. Let's talk about your artwork. Number one, your artwork. There's two types of artwork that you should have in 3D house. One is effects, and we like checkers, balls, forced perspectives, zigzags, crazy lines. We do all sorts of crazy effects that we intertwine with the scenes. The other kind of artwork is the scene, and that's a complete visual scene of, say, a knife thrower throwing darts into a lady. He's supposed to miss her, but he doesn't miss her. He hits her with every dart. In our 3D house, our clown 3D house, we had these clowns in bumper cars, and instead of bumping into each other, they bump into the customers, and the customers are all kind of attached to the cars. It was pretty funny. But the big thing about that art, the scenes, they should tell a story. Each scene should say something. For example, the knife thrower. Okay, he's a knife thrower. He's supposed to throw knives. He's supposed to miss the girl, but he doesn't. He's crazy. The bumper cars. The clowns are supposed to drive around the bumper cars and entertain the customers, but instead they run them over like Death Race 2000, because that's what the cars look like. Other crazy scenes that we had was a pig roast. There's a pig on either side and a human in the middle with an apple in its mouth. I think that tells you what it is. So we believe that you should see a scene. For example, an operation scene. We had a clown operation scene. Clowns are operating on a human, and what pops out of his stomach, somewhat like Alien, but a jack-in-the-box. And there's this big hideous head, and it was really cool. So it tells a story. You can look at it, you know what it's saying to you, and you see that scene, it looks really cool, and then hopefully there's an actor nearby to just, jump out and scare them, and then they see some sort of, transition which is like an effect, like I was just saying, a transition into another scene, then a transition into another scene. And I hope that gives you some idea of basically the theories behind how we do 3D houses. Now, let's take a look at one of our 3D houses that we had last year called TerraVisions.
Hey, come on, kid. Wanna clown around? Come on, let me introduce you to friends of mine. They just love kids. Yeah, they really love kids. Hey, what's that behind you? Gotcha. Make it look. Hey, come on, kid. Wanna clown around? Hey, come on, kid. Wanna clown around? Come on, let me introduce you to friends of mine. They just love kids. Yeah, they really love kids. Hey, what's that behind you? Gotcha. Make it look. Hey, come on, kid. Wanna clown around? Hey, come on, kid. Wanna clown around? Come on, let me introduce you to friends of mine. They just love kids. Yeah, they really love kids. Hey, what's that behind you? Gotcha. Make it look. Hey, come on, kid. Wanna clown around? Hey, come on, kid. Wanna clown around? Come on, let me introduce you to friends of mine. They just love kids. Yeah, they really love kids. Hey, what's that behind you? Gotcha. Make it look. Hey, come on, kid. Wanna clown around? Hey, come on, kid. Wanna clown around? Come on, let me introduce you to some friends of mine. They love kids. Yeah, they really love kids. Hey, what's that behind you? Gotcha. Make it look. Hey, come on, kid. Wanna clown around?
Well, I hope you liked the tour of our Terror Visions Haunted House. As I said, we built that 3D house last year. It was a tight budget, and I thought it looked really cool. This next year, instead of changing the theme, which we've been doing with our 3D houses every year, we're going to stick with it. We're going to try to build more of the sets out, like I was telling you we're doing with the Spider-Man stuff. We're also going to put a lot of cool things hanging in people's faces. We're going to do some really cool things with the floor for the first time. And we're also going to try to put a roof over the Terror Visions with camo net. And we're going to spray the camo net like different colors. And I think that'll really add another effect to the house. And we're going to have a couple pop-ups and things like that. So we're going to put some money in our 3D house. I think it's going to take it to another level. We'll see what happens, and we'll make sure we get it on tape for you. Now, I want to thank you for watching Hauntworld the Movie, Part 13. And we're almost done. But we're going to take you out to Rocky Point Haunted House out in Salt Lake City, out there with Sidney Neal. Now, we're not going to show you all the footage from Rocky Point Haunted House. We're going to extend the footage over to Hauntworld the Movie Part 14. Plus, in addition, as a bonus, on 14, we're going to show a really cool how-to with the crew from Rocky Point Haunted House. We're going to show you how they did some caves out there in that haunted house. So that should be really cool. And we're going to show that on 14. So what we're going to do is we're going to show you this footage from Rocky Point. We're going to show you so much of it, then we're going to roll right into the credits, and that's the end of this tape. So again, I want to thank you for watching Hauntworld the Movie Part 13. This should be the collector's edition because it's 13. I can't believe we made it this far. 13 tapes. That's because you guys keep buying them. And again, I want to plug... Whoops. Wait a minute. There we go. Hauntworld the magazine. You can subscribe to it again on hauntworld.com. And I can't impress upon you enough that our goal with this magazine is to provide you information that you would want to know that will help you make more money with your haunted house. That's the only goal. There won't be any Disney Haunted Mansion stories or anything like that. It's 100% to the point articles that you want to know more about from the people you want to hear them from. And so we hope you subscribe, and we want to thank you again for watching Hauntworld the Movie Part 13. And this tape is dedicated to Lance Pope and Verdon Manor, and we hope that Verdon Manor will continue, and we hope all of his actors out there will keep going in Lance's memory. So thank you again, and here's Rocky Point Haunted House.
Good evening. Now before you enter here, I should warn you, this house holds a very grave curse. My master, the lord of this manor, has died, yet for some reason, his spirit lingers here within these very walls. All that is evil lurks within this house. So I suggest you stay together and move quickly, and perhaps you'll go unnoticed.
about 10 times anyway.
Yum to it. Yum to it. Yum to it. Yum to it.
Use a few more limbs.
Since the dawn of man, we have always dreaded the knowledge of our own mortality. But now I hold the keys to immortality. Behold as I give life. Now they will know. They will all know my genius.
My what? My own. My precious.
Drop panel coming up. That on you. Hit the drop panel, Lord.
Would you like to see a dead clown? And your blood shall be spilled for the good of the circus.
There you go.
It's over there.
Are those the main two cast members?
Yeah, they're the only guys up here.
That's the show one, or that?
Okay, we are entering the carousel.
You wouldn't happen to have a little problem with clowns, would you? Because I have a little problem with clowns. I'm gonna kill them all. They're all just jealous. I thought it was pretty creative what we done to them all. Shoving them all on poles, letting them all die slowly. We want to take a ride on the carousel of craze. We just have you on a pole, and then you die next. I can just smell your fear of clowns.
you. They always get you.
You don't want to have a guy in front of your haunted attraction that chases people away. Luckily, Mr. Hyde here doesn't do that. He encourages to come in. But we have another guy down on the porch who seems to be chasing people off as fast as they get here. Whenever he's here, what does he say to him? Yeah, that's what he does.
Chasing away here, not chasing away. What's the matter with you?
And how's the old witch doing this evening?
Fairly well.
Fairly well. Well, sometimes that's the best you can. Best you can do. And how's the young witch?
Beautiful.
Oh, okay.
We are both beautiful.
We'll let the audience decide that. The audience doesn't look too pleased from here. I don't know. Yes, now that all of us who are not very funny are gathered and in our places on the porch, let's have a look at someone who's much funnier than us not funny people, namely the Neon Skull. Now he's funny.
foolish mortals to Horror Hotel. Once again, it's that chilling and mysterious time of year when Halloween is approaching and ghosts and ghouls are free to walk the night among unsuspecting humans. And once again, we welcome all the strange creatures of the season to Horror Hotel, where we cater to their unusual needs. As head of the establishment, I invite you now to explore the hideous halls of the hotel for a little fright-seeing tour. And my inhuman associate here will kindly carry me along. Every year it's the same thing. Can't you just take care and carry me correctly? Anyway, I'll be your gruesome guide. Let's proceed into the lobby. right up and look into the dining room. Oh, tonight we're hosting the annual Mad Scientist Convention. The world's most dedicated and diabolical scientific minds are all here. They'll be discussing advanced and very confusing topics like time travel, matter transmission, and how to make sense of your typical telephone bill. Ha ha! biggest problem is finding new subjects to take part in their more unusual experiments. Perhaps you'd like to volunteer. No previous experiments necessary. Just remember, many of their assistants have gone from the lab to the slab in a short time. They're busy having their dinner now, so let's go on up to the second floor. Come along, follow me up the staircase now, please. At the dark end of the hall, an area we reserve for our most dangerous and disagreeable guests. It looks like one of our residents is out lurking around. He was killing time carving pumpkins, but I do believe he's all out of pumpkins now and probably looking for something else to carve. So you better keep moving. Go right on into the laboratory now and step lively, please. Oh, I see the Frankenstein monster has snuck into our lab for a quick re-energizing with the help of his old friend, Igor. Oh, I had no idea he was using our equipment to jolt his bolts with so many bolts. This explains those rolling blackouts you hear about. Oh, our guest may cause a power failure throughout Crawford County, but at least the monster will be at full power. If you feel you're being overcharged by your electric company, at least you're not as overcharged as he is. Oh, as long as he can get away with it, I say, more power to him. Ooh, let's get out of here and into the next room before he blows a fuse. Oh, my. Anyway, that's right. Step right on inside the next room, please. You notice that our hotel is next to the old railroad tracks. This long-time guest of ours used to be an engineer until that dark October night many years ago, when, unfortunately, he fell asleep on the job and caused an accident that cost one young woman her head. He still feels bad about that. So every October, he keeps coming back to search the area, hoping to track down the poor girl's missing cranium. They say he never did find the right head, but every year he takes someone's head back to the beyond to offer her as a substitute. Oh, it looks like he's training his sights on your head at the moment, and he's got that derailed look in his eye sockets. So you better sever your ties with him right now, just act natural, ignore old Casey Bones here, and go right on into the next room, please. You may consider yourself fortunate. Oh, very few of the living ever get to take a peek at a traditional zombie Death Day party. Tonight's Ghost of Honor expired exactly 100 years ago, and his fellow corpses are throwing a little under the hill party for him. Ooh, I hope nothing happens tonight like that previous incident when an unfortunate human guest stumbled into one of their little bashes and ended up as the piñata. It looks like he's about to check out all the Death Day presents his bloody buddies dug up for him. I wouldn't want him to decide to open you first, so let's move on. Please go straight across the hall and into our library. Monsters and spirits need the occasional escapist fantasy, just as mortals do. Oh, I'm sure you've heard of the popular role-playing game Dungeons and Dragons. Well, these fiends are engaged in the otherworldly equivalent, houses and humans. The role-playing game. They let ghouls and ghosts pretend they're people. But with them, even a friendly game can turn ugly. Oh, if you think your friends are poor sports, you should try playing with this bunch. When it's a monster's turn to roll the die, heads might roll, and anyone might die. I do hope no one gets caught trying to cheat the other players, or trying to eat the other players for that matter. Well, sometimes a single game can last practically an eternity, so we're not hanging around to see who wins, loses, or survives.
Well, thank you for watching Hauntworld the Movie Part 13, folks. It was a pleasure bringing that to you. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel because we are going to bring you more videos coming soon showing you modern day haunts. And yes, there are more Hauntworld movies. We will be bringing those to you at another time. Just make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. And if you have a haunt, make sure you add it to hauntworld.com. And if you already have a haunt on there, make sure you update your profile because Hauntworld gets tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of views every year. And go to hauntworld.com's front page. We have a blog. We're always putting haunted news right there. Until next time, happy hauntings.
For scary videos and more, subscribe to our YouTube page, hauntworld.com.